High in the Himalayas, nestled among the towering peaks, lay Devnagri, a village of serene beauty. It was a small place, a handful of houses huddled close together as if seeking comfort from the cold. Life here moved at its own pace, slow and steady, guided by the rhythms of the mountains. But beneath this peaceful facade, a dark secret whispered. At the village edge lay Silent Lake, its waters still and deep, reflecting the sky like a mirror. The villagers spoke of the lake in hushed tones, their voices laced with fear. Legends whispered of a crimson fog, a malevolent presence that consumed those foolish enough to venture too close. The village elders spoke of lost souls, their cries for help swallowed by the dense fog. These stories, passed down through generations, each telling more chilling than the last, spoke of the crimson fog as more than just a local myth. It was a chilling reality that cast a long shadow over Devnagri. Outsiders, drawn by the allure of the Himalayas, often scoffed at these tales. They dismissed them as folklore, nothing more than overactive imaginations. But the villagers knew better. They knew the truth that lurked beneath the lake's placid surface. Jatin Bansal was an adventure travel blogger, his passport filled with stamps from exotic and often dangerous locations. He lived for the thrill of exploring the unknown, of uncovering secrets hidden from ordinary eyes. Jatin had heard the whispers about Devnagri and its infamous Silent Lake. The stories, far from deterring him, only fueled his desire to experience the mystery firsthand. He arrived in the village on a crisp autumn morning, his backpack filled with camera equipment and an insatiable thirst for adventure. Jatin was captivated by Devnagri's beauty, but the village's underlying tension did not escape his notice. The villagers, though welcoming, were hesitant to speak about the lake. Their eyes held a mixture of fear and warning, their gazes lingering on him with an almost apologetic sadness. Undeterred, Jatin resolved to uncover the truth behind the legend of the Crimson Fog. He believed that every legend had a kernel of truth, a story waiting to be told, and he was determined to be the one to tell it. Jatin found lodging at a cozy inn run by a weathered old man named Kishan. Kishan, with his kind eyes and gentle demeanor, seemed to be the only one willing to engage with Jatin about Silent Lake. He shared stories of the fog, his voice a low murmur that sent shivers down Jatin's spine. "Many have ventured to the lake seeking answers," Kishan warned, his voice heavy with concern, "but none have returned the same. The fog. It takes something from you, something you can never get back." Jatin listened intently, his skepticism slowly giving way to a creeping unease. He tried to reason with Kishan, attributing the stories to natural phenomena, to tricks of light and sound. But Kishan remained unconvinced. "The mountains hold many secrets," he said, his gaze distant. "Some secrets are best left undisturbed." Jatin, however, was undeterred. He thanked Kishan for his concern, but remained resolute in his decision. He would see the crimson fog with his own eyes, experience its mystery for himself. As twilight descended, casting long shadows across the village, Jatin set off towards Silent Lake. The air grew noticeably colder as he approached, a stillness settling over the landscape like a shroud. The path leading to the lake was deserted, the villagers heeding the unspoken warning that hung heavy in the air. The only sounds were his own footsteps crunching on the fallen leaves and the distant cry of a night bird. Jatin felt a shiver run down his spine, the eerie silence amplifying his every sense. He had faced dangerous situations before, but there was something different about this place. Something unsettling that sent a primal fear crawling up his throat. He paused, momentarily questioning his decision. But the allure of the unknown, the desire to capture the truth, urged him forward. He continued his trek towards the lake, each step taking him deeper into the heart of the mystery. The lake lay before him, a sheet of dark glass reflecting the dying embers of the sunset. A thin layer of mist clung to the surface, swirling gently in the breeze. As Yatin watched, the mist began to thicken, its color deepening from a pale white to a sickly yellow. Then, as if imbued with a life of its own, it erupted in a burst of crimson, spreading across the lake like a bloodstain. The air grew heavy, thick with the metallic scent of blood. Jatin coughed, his eyes stinging from the acrid air. He fumbled for his camera, his hands trembling as he tried to capture the scene unfolding before him. Through the lens, he saw shapes moving within the fog, grotesque figures with elongated limbs and glowing eyes. They writhed and twisted, their silent screams echoing in the stillness. Panic seized Yatin as the fog surged towards him, its icy tendrils snaking around his legs, pulling him towards the lake. He stumbled backward, his foot catching on a root, sending him sprawling onto the cold ground. The camera slipped from his grasp, its lens shattering as it hit a rock. Yatin scrambled to his feet, his heart pounding against his ribs like a drum. He could feel the fog closing in, its icy touch seeping through his clothes, chilling him to the bone. He ran, his lungs burning, his legs screaming for respite. But the fog was relentless, its grip tightening with every passing second. He could hear whispers now, voices murmuring his name, beckoning him towards the darkness. Just when Yatin thought he would be consumed by the crimson fog, he stumbled into the clearing leading back to the village. He collapsed on the ground, gasping for breath, his clothes soaked in sweat and fear. As he lay there catching his breath, he noticed a strange mark on his arm, a crimson stain in the shape of a handprint. It burned like fire, a searing reminder of his close encounter with the supernatural. Yatin returned to the village, a changed man. The once intrepid traveler was now haunted by the experience, his dreams plagued by the crimson fog and the whispers that echoed within. He tried to tell others about what he had seen, but his words were met with pitying looks and hushed whispers. They had warned him, they said, but he hadn't listened. Now he was marked. Yatin disappeared a few days later, vanishing without a trace. Some say he succumbed to madness, driven over the edge by his encounter with the fog. Others believe he returned to the lake, drawn back by the very force he had tried to escape. Whatever his fate, one thing was certain: Jatin Bansal was never seen again. The villagers whispered that the lake had claimed another soul, adding his story to the growing tapestry of legends surrounding Silent Lake. And in the stillness of the night, if one listened closely, one could hear Jatin's voice carried on the wind, a mournful whisper lost in the crimson fog. The lake held its secrets close, its depths concealing the truth, a chilling reminder that some mysteries are best left unexplored. The crimson fog continued to swirl above Silent Lake, a silent sentinel guarding its secrets, waiting for its next victim.